are looking at the entrance to Fogwell's Gym on New York's Lower West Side. It is here that our story begins. A story different from any you have read before. In a dingy room above the gym, four men play a game of poker, little dreaming of the shock which awaits them.
Come on, Porky. We haven't got all day. The fixer may be here soon.
Keep your shirt on, Sam. I don't rush for anyone.
Who do you think you're kidding? You know, when the fixer snaps his fingers, we all hop, if we want to stay healthy.
Sam's right. Anyhow, I'm bushed. Let's knock off for a while until... Hey, what's that noise?
For the love of Pete, what do you call that?
You're in the wrong place, Buster. We don't use costumed wrestlers here.
I've seen nutty get-ups, but that one takes the cake.
But look at his build. Hang around, fella. Maybe the fixer can use you.
Hey, that guy's here looking for trouble. The fixer won't like that.
I intend to do just that. When I'm through with the fixer, he'll never be able to use anyone ever again.
Must be some kind of nut.
Toss the costume clown out on his ear, Porky.
It'll be a pleasure, boys. I can use the exercise. Hey, what the?
If it's exercise you want, fatso, you've come to the right guy.
Stop! Cut it out! Let go!
I'll be glad to, little chum. There, is that what you wanted?
Mister, you just bought yourself a big pack of trouble. Wait till I grab that gun.
Sorry, playmate. You'll have to move lots faster than that. If you're grabbing a gun, I guess I can use a simple little billy club. There. No sense wasting expensive bullets on a nobody like me.
You punk! I'll fix it so you never make another wisecrack again!
Bite your tongue, Porky. Think what a loss that would be to the world.
Stop wasting your time, Porky. I'll take care of that crumb my way.
Don't bet on it, pal.
Surround him. He can't stand all of us at once.
Now's our chance while he's catching his breath.
Get him!
You fellas sure have a funny way of making a stranger feel at home. In fact, if I didn't know better, I'd begin to suspect that I'm not really welcome here.
Okay, mister, we've had it. Now, who are you and what do you want?
It ain't possible. Nobody can fight like that. He must do it with mirrors.
Now that playtime's over, I'll hang around until I find the fixer. As for who I am, you can just call me Daredevil.
The year is 1950, as the prize fighter known as Battling Murdoch talks to his 8-year-old son, Matthew.
But I don't want to study now, Dad. Why can't I go out and play ball with the kids? I can study later on.
No, Matt. You'll do it now. You'll study every chance you get, here? I promised your mother before she died that I wouldn't let you grow up to be an uneducated pug like me. You're going to amount to something, Matt.
But I want to be like you, Dad. I'm proud of you. You're the greatest.
Don't say it, boy. I'm past my prime. I've no future. Nothing I can do but become a punching bag for younger men. But I won't let that happen to you. You're gonna study. Become a lawyer or a doctor. You'll be somebody. There's somebody that I can never be. Now go back to your room, son, and get busy with your books.
Okay, Dad.
As the years roll by, Matt Murdoch does his best to live up to his father's dream. He becomes top student in his class, forsaking all sports, all athletic activities, although his heart aches for the thrills of the baseball diamond and the gridiron.
If only Dad would let me try out for the team. I'd be as good as any of them. I just know I would. But I can't go against his wishes. I can't defy Dad after all he's done for me. After all his sacrifices, I've got to be the son he wants me to be.
And so, Young Matt Murdock goes his lonely way, spending every minute he can spare with his books, never sharing in the games of the other teenagers.
The kids are Indian wrestling. If only I could go down and join them.
No one can be as cruel as an unthinking youth. It is only a matter of time before the neighborhood kids make up a nickname for Matt, a name he will long remember.
Well, well, if it ain't old Daredevil himself.
Hi, Daredevil, be sure you don't tire yourself out turning all those heavy pages in your school books.
They're laughing at me. They think I'm a sissy.
Then, when he reaches his room,
someday I'll show them. I'll make them eat those words. I'm as strong as any of them, as rugged as any of them. And I'll prove it. Someday I'll prove it.
his anger boiling within him, the resentful youth strikes out at his dad's punching bag with the pent-up fury of a thunderclap.
The day will come when no one will ever laugh at me again. When, hey, I knocked the bag clean off.
Then, after repairing the clasp,
what a numbskull I am. Why don't I do this every day, just to keep in shape?
it is only natural that the son of battling Murdoch should take to vigorous training the way a duck takes to water. And so, in the months that follow, while his dad is out of town on the boxing circuit, barbells, rope skipping, cable pull, the bag, rowing machine, the bike. But no matter how hard he trains, the determined teenager never forgets the goal he has set for himself.
How were things at school while I was away, Matt? Everything all right, son?
Guess so, Dad, if you call straight A's all right.
Matt, I know how tough it's been for you while the other kids were out playing and having good times. But the day will come when you'll thank me, boy. You're going to amount to something, just the way your mother would have wanted you to.
But there is one problem which battling Murdoch keeps from his son.
I haven't been able to land a fight in weeks. I'm getting too old. No manager will take me. But I can't let Matt down. I've got to keep fighting until he gets through college. I owe him that for the way he's worked all these years.
Finally, in desperation, Murdoch makes a fatal decision.
Look, Murdoch, you're all washed up and you know it. The only guy who'll manage a has-been like you is the Fixer.
The Fixer? I always swore to myself that I'd steer clear of a guy with his reputation. But now I've got no choice. I have to get a fight.
And so...
Well, well, if it ain't battling Murdoch. 10 years ago, you kicked me out of your dressing room when I offered you a deal. But I knew you'd come around sooner or later. Sure, I'll get you some fights. And you won't have to take a dive either. Just because I'm a really soft-hearted fool. Here, sign this contract.
With trembling fingers, the middle-aged fighter grasps the pen, as a drowning man would clutch at a straw. And then...
This is the luckiest day of my life. Now I'll be able to send Matt to college. I don't have a thing to worry about.
Excitedly, the joyful prizefighter rushes to his apartment, only to find...
Matt! Wait till I tell you the news! Matt? Not here.
As fate would have it, Matthew Murdoch at that very moment is returning from the library, taking the most important few steps of his entire life.
Gee, you'd think someone would help that blind man across the street. Say, mister, can I give you a hand? He didn't seem to hear me. He might be deaf, too. Say, there's a truck turning the corner, coming towards him.
Hank, slam on the brakes! Someone's crossing in front of us! I can't! Something's wrong! She won't stop!
Without a moment's hesitation, his supple muscles responding to the emergency with the speed of thought, Matt Murdoch hurtles toward the scene of impending disaster.
He won't have a chance unless I can reach him in time.
The swift-moving teenager hurls the unsuspecting blind man out of the truck's path, but he himself is not so fortunate.
He saved that man's life!
Most heroic act I've ever seen.
But a cylinder fell from the truck. It struck his face. Is it something radioactive?
Don't just stand there. Someone call an ambulance.
Later, at Municipal Hospital.
Your son is a very brave lad, Mr. Murdoch. You must try to be equally as brave in the days ahead.
If only it had happened to me instead of him. If only I had been there.
Don't, Dad. It could be worse. Even if I do lose my sight, at least I'm alive.
And days later, after the injured boy returns home...
Good news, Matt. The doctor's report says that an operation may restore your sight in a few years, after the tissues have healed.
That's great, Dad. Until then, don't worry. I'll still keep up my studies. Using books written in Braille, I'll get my diploma yet. You'll see.
But in the days that follow, Matt Murdock studies more than the written word. He begins a still more intensive program of physical exercises.
I don't get it. Ever since my accident, I seem to be able to do everything lots better than before, even without my sight. It's as though nature made all my senses far more powerful to compensate for my blindness. I wonder, could the radioactive elements which struck my eyes have anything to do with my increased powers? Stranger things have been known to happen.
But whatever the explanation, it is a supremely confident, self-assured Matt Murdock who finally graduates from high school and is eagerly accepted by the director of admissions of State College, where we find him sharing a dormitory room with his new buddy, Franklin Foggy Nelson.
Matt, you old hound dog, how do you do it? I study like a demon, but you just breeze through the courses with all the top grades.
I guess my dad deserves the credit, Foggy. He had me study so hard when I was younger that it all seems to come easy to me now. And I wouldn't be surprised if that radiation I absorbed in the accident doesn't have something to do with it too. Everything seems easy for me now. All my senses are razor sharp. My hearing is so acute that I can tell if someone's in a room with me just by hearing the heartbeat. And I never forget an odor once I smell it. I could recognize any girl by her perfume, or any man by his hair tonic. Even my fingers have become incredibly sensitive. I can tell how many bullets are in a gun just by the weight of the barrel. While my sense of taste has become so highly developed that I can tell exactly how many grains of salt are on a piece of pretzel. But my most important new ability is in the form of a built-in radar that I seem to have developed. It enables me to walk anywhere safely without bumping into anything. I feel a strange tingling sensation when I approach any solid obstacle, warning me which way to turn.
Say, son, want any help crossing the street?
No thanks, I can make it. Little does he suspect I can cross more safely than he can, for I have every one of my remaining senses working at absolute peak capacity.
Meanwhile, the career of battling Murdock takes a surprising turn.
Here's your dough, Murdock. Keep it up and you may be champ someday.
I can't believe it, Fixer. It all seems like some kind of miracle.
Then, after Murdock leaves...
Wait till the old fool finds out that all his fights were setups. He'll bait his opponents to take a dive.
Sure, I did it to give Murdock a build-up, to draw the crowds. But he'll learn the facts of life in his next fight. That's where I get him to take the count.
And a few days before battling Murdock's latest fight...
Footsteps. I can tell by the weight. The distance between each. It's Foggy Nelson.
Hey, Matt, wait up! I want to read you the sports headline. It's about your dad. He's fighting Dynamite Davis tomorrow night in New York. How about that? Want to go?
I've already got the tickets, Foggy. One for each of us. I read the headline before, just by running my finger over the page and feeling the impression of the ink.
And so, the next night...
Fixer said I have to take a dive in the first round tonight.
And in this corner, the middle-aged sensation, battling Murdock!
Well, my boy's here tonight to root for his dad. I've always trained him to do his best. I can't disappoint him now.
Murdock, you fool! Take it easy. What are you doing? If you're trying to double-cross me, you'll live to regret it. You're supposed to take a dive now, here? Dive!
He's winning, Matt! Your dad's pulverizing him! Yoo-hoo!
I know it. I can follow the fight perfectly by hearing the sound of each blow, each footstep.
It's my one chance. Maybe my last chance to do something, to make my son proud of me. I'm not gonna fail. I'm gonna win, do you hear? I'm gonna win!
Call it a miracle. Call it pure willpower, sheer determination. Call it what you will. But a few seconds later...
The winner, Battling Murdoch!
And then, in the dressing room...
You did it, Dad. You proved that nothing's impossible if a man has the courage, if a man's not afraid.
I wanted you to be proud of me, Matt. My son.
But in the back seat of a dark sedan which quietly pulls away from the stadium...
Nobody double-crosses the fixer. You know what to do, Slade.
Yeah, boss. I know what to do.
A few minutes later, as Matt's happy father leaves the gym...
No matter what the fixer does, I won't care. My son is proud of me. Nothing can ever change that now.
Suddenly, the sharp explosive sound of a gunshot destroys the silence of the night and ends one man's reverie forever. Within seconds...
It's Battling Murdoch. He won the big fight tonight.
Somebody must have been awfully sore about his victory, and we're not going to rest until we find out who.
Nothing I can do for him. It's too late.
Later, after a grieving Matt Murdock has heard the tragic news...
You've got to snap out of it, Matt. Pull yourself together, fella. That's what your dad would have wanted. We'll be graduating soon, and my dad's setting me up in a law office. I want you to join me, Matt, as my partner.
Finally, the big day arrives. Graduation.
Matthew Murdoch, I'm especially proud to congratulate you for being chosen class valedictorian. You've proven that an alert mind and strong will can conquer any obstacles.
Thank you, sir.
And he's gonna be my partner. Boy, can I pick him.
The next day in New York.
We're in business, Matt. With your brains and my dad's money, nothing will stop us. Come on and meet the secretary I hired.
My name is Karen Page, Mr. Murdoch. I hope you'll be pleased with me.
Her voice is like music. From the sound, she's 5'4", young, and I know she's lovely.
Later that night, in the furnished room Matt has rented near the office.
I'll never be able to concentrate on my law work until Dad's murder is finally brought to justice. But years ago, I promised Dad that Matt Murdoch would use his head, never become a fighter, never depend on my strength the way Dad did. I can't break that promise I made. And yet, with my agility, my extra sharp senses, there's so much I could do. I can't let all my powers go to waste. Wait, I have it! I'll see to it that Matt Murdoch never does resort to force. But somebody else will. Somebody totally different from Matt Murdoch. All I need are some old shirts which I can stitch together. I'm no Betsy Ross, but I should be able to handle this. Lucky my touch is so sensitive. I can even blend the colors, for each colored fabric has a different feel to me.
A few hours later.
There. Whenever I don this costume, I'll no longer be Matt Murdoch. But I'll need a new name. What if the kids in the old neighborhood could see me now? The kids who taunted me, called me Daredevil. Wait, that's it! Daredevil, they called me. But they meant it as an insult. Well, that's who I'll be. The name is perfect. The costume is tight enough to wear under my clothes if need be. I'll just make a few finishing touches on the headpiece. When I'm through, Daredevil will be recognized anywhere. Even though I don't need it, I'll continue to carry a cane as Matt Murdoch. That gives me another idea. That cane would make a great weapon for Daredevil.
Through the long night, the unseeing man works. His super-sensitive fingers molding and manipulating his cane far more precisely than any normal craftsman might do it.
I'll hinge it in the middle, design a sheath for it. It'll be the perfect all-purpose weapon. It's perfect! I can use it 100 ways. And now for the job at hand. I've got to bring my father's murderer to justice. Tomorrow's Saturday. The office will be closed, so I'll start in the morning. And I know just where to begin.
And so...
Dad's manager was called the Fixer. I have a hunch he deserves that nickname.
How confidently that blind young man walks through the street.
Unerringly guided by his Adam-induced radar sense, Matt Murdock reaches his destination.
This will be Daredevil's first test. Now to change clothes in an alley and see if I'm as good as I think.
And so we return to the present, as our Daredevil saga continues.
Now, do you take me to the fixer or...
Or nothing. We've had it, fella. Just hang around. He'll be here any minute. Somebody asking for me? What do you want?
Hey, boss, dig the getup on that clown.
He looks like trouble to me, Fixer. Want we should lean on him a little?
My associates don't seem to like your looks, mister. You better talk fast.
From the heavy tone of his voice, he's beefy, rough. I hear breathing on each side of him, so the other two must be flanking him. Correction, Fixer. You're the one who's going to talk. I want to know what arrangement you had with Battling Murdock.
Battling Murdock? What's that to you? It ain't healthy to mention him around here.
He must know something, boss. I'll take care of him.
The sound of a suit jacket being drawn aside. Fingers touching a metal object. Must be a gun butt in a shoulder holster. The sound of his breathing, the telltale click of the pistol's safety release are all I need here to pinpoint my target. And the almost inaudible sound of my cane cutting through the air is like a loud radar beep to my super-sensitive ears. I was right all the time. My senses are so ultra-keen that I can do anything a man with eyesight can, and do it better.
I'll sneak up on him from behind. Hey! He swung around just in time. How'd you know I was behind you?
That's my secret, pal. No matter how softly he crept up behind me, his muffled footsteps sounded like heavy drum beats to me. Rapid footsteps hurrying away from me. He's trying to escape. Hold it, Speedy. I haven't dismissed the class yet.
How does he do it? He doesn't miss a trick.
Now let's all settle down for a nice talk. Unless you'd like another session with me.
Look, you. Quiet. I'll handle this. I'm still the boss. Mr. Whoever you are, you're in a mess of trouble. You're not getting away with coming here and roughing us up. We got laws to protect innocent people. Sam, call the cops.
The sound of a hand picking up a receiver. Oh, this is almost too easy.
Yow!
Fixer, I suspect you were responsible for the death of Battling Murdock. Why don't you confess now and save us all a lot of trouble?
You're nuts. I had nothing to do with it. I got a perfect alibi.
I have another power I wasn't even aware of. I can hear his pulse rate. It's speeding up, indicating he's lying. My super sense of hearing is like a built-in lie detector. Maybe you do have an alibi. Maybe yours wasn't the finger that squeezed the trigger. But you gave the order, didn't you?
No, stay back. Stop him, you guys. Don't let him get me.
He knows too much. He might even know I'm the murderer. I can't take any chances.
And so intent is Daredevil upon listening to the Fixer's pulse race to determine if he is the guilty man, that his ultra-sharp hearing sense reacts a fraction of a second too slow, and...
It was me, but you'll never be able to do anything about it.
Behind me, someone...
A normal man with all his senses might be doomed in such a situation. But the moment the fearless Daredevil feels himself hurtling into space, his super keen ears catch the rustling of a flag as his lightning-fast reflexes go into action.
A flagpole alongside me. Only one chance.
Pressing the hidden stud which releases his cane handle at the same split second as he lunges out, he stops his fall in midair.
Got it! From here on in, it's all a breeze. Now then, gents, where were we?
He's back!
Meanwhile, at the other side of town...
Funny, Matt doesn't answer. Maybe he's still asleep. Oh, the door's open. Hey, Lazy Bones, I thought I'd see if you need anything and... Matt? He's gone. Gosh, I wish he'd called me. I hate to think of poor Matt walking around town all alone with all the traffic in New York. I'll go up to the office. Maybe he decided to come here and get familiar with the place before he started work on Monday.
But entering the new office, Foggy finds it unoccupied, except for the most decorative accessory.
Karen, today's your day off.
I know, Mr. Nelson, but I'm a stranger in New York and had no one to visit, so I thought I'd tidy up the office while I had a chance. Is Mr. Murdoch with you?
No. Matter of fact, I'd hoped he'd be here. I don't like him wandering around town alone.
I understand. What a pity such a wonderful, handsome man is so handicapped.
Wow. I'd sure like to hear her talk about me in that adoring tone of voice. Don't let his blindness fool you, Karen. He's still the smartest, most capable, most courageous fella I know. He doesn't even seem to mind not seeing.
There's something about him that makes a girl want to take him in her arms and... Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson. I had no right to speak that way. It's just that he seems to need someone to look after him.
It would be hard to imagine Karen Page's feelings if she could see the handicapped man she is referring to at this moment.
Out, all of you. I'm only interested in Slade and the Fixer.
Boy, you don't have to tell me twice.
Come back, you rotten cowards! Don't leave us with them!
Now, you two, I've learned what I wanted. Slade actually did the shooting, but you gave the order.
What good'll it do? You can't prove it.
Yeah, where's your evidence?
Now for my final bluff. They're so worried now, they'll believe anything. Right here, I have a miniature tape recorder concealed in my billy club. It'll tell the police all they need to know.
He's got us.
Then, before Daredevil can make a move, the Fixer tries one last desperate maneuver.
Quick, Slade, run! Before he can get his balance!
Whoa! My arm. I wrenched it. I was a fool for being so overconfident. I should have known they'd make one final try to escape. They can't have gotten far. I'll get them yet.
But racing around the corner, Slade and Fixer quickly mingle with the Saturday afternoon shopping crowd.
He'll never find us now, in the middle of this crowd.
Just the same, keep moving. There's no telling what that guy can do.
Meanwhile,
I can still smell the traces of the Fixer's cigar smoke. I can follow the scent like a bloodhound, but I'll be able to get around easier in the crowd without a costume. I'm glad his cigar is a strong one. He might as well be telling me where he is, but he doesn't know it. I hope they're staying together. I want to bring them both to justice. The cigar scent is stronger now. I'm almost to them.
Slow down, Slade. We're safe now. He's nowhere in sight.
Guess you're right. No one near us now but that blind guy. We've lost him for sure.
Come on, we'll duck into that subway station across the street and get off at Penn Station. We'll be out of town in an hour.
Huh, that's what they think.
Hey, did you see how fast that blind guy pushed past us?
Who cares? We got our own problems.
Their footsteps are getting closer. I'll just make it. Going somewhere, boys?
It's him.
It ain't possible. Separate! He can't get us both!
I was afraid they'd try that. I can tell by the unbroken sound of Slade's footsteps. There's no one between us, so it's safe to throw my cane!
Good. He's tackling Slade. That means I'll escape.
Ugh! Blast it! He tripped me with that infernal stick of his.
That'll slow him down while I go after the Fixer. He's too far ahead. I need something to help me catch him. This waste paper basket that I'm touching. Perfect! This rolling steel is making such a racket that I can't hear his footsteps. But I can easily detect the scent of his cigar.
He's gonna get me! He's gonna get me! My heart! Can't breathe! Oh!
No pulse. No heartbeat. Seems like a heart attack will save the state the expense of a trial.
What's going on here?
Transit police. Just what the doctor ordered. And so is this incoming train. Follow me, boys. I've got a little job for you. Don't you know enough to stay where I left you? Now for my last bluff. The Fixer just told us everything, Slade. He's innocent. You are Murdoch's murderer.
The dirty crumb. He's not gonna wiggle out of this. He's as guilty as I am. I only pulled the trigger, but he gave the orders.
Hear enough, boys?
We sure did, but... Wait, who are you?
The name's Daredevil. Remember it. You'll be hearing it again. I promise.
Matt! Say, I was worried about you, fella. Where have you been?
Just out for a walk, Foggy. I'd have been here sooner, but as you know, I can't get around too fast.
We just had a call, Mr. Murdoch. An accused murderer named Slade. He wanted to know if we'd defend him.
But I turned him down. From the police report, I was convinced he's guilty. Hope you don't mind, Matt.
Mind? No, I don't mind at all. Not a bit. Not one single bit. Dad, wherever you are, I kinda hope you're resting easier now.